Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Point Framework Plan Open House. We have a crowd here in person, and we are live streaming this event on the Point's YouTube channel and on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. Recordings of this event will be available immediately afterwards on the same platforms. You can also find the recording on our website, thepointutah.org. My name is Brittany Johnston. I'm part of the Point communications team. I will be introducing two of our speakers today, and I will be helping host the event for our viewers who are participating remotely. First, we want to recognize some board members who are here today, Co-Chair State Representative Lowry Snow and State Representative Stephen Handy. Thank you for being here. And also Draper Mayor Troy Walker. Thank you for being here today. Over the course of the 3 hours, we will hear a 15-minute presentation at the beginning of each hour, starting now with Alan Matheson, the Point Executive Director.
Thanks, Brittany, and welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. We welcome those who are here in person, welcome those who are watching in the live stream. I'd just say, relax, enjoy, take some opportunity to go around, to learn. We want this to be informal and fun and informational. So last night at about 9:30 or 10, my wife and I were reading about the meteor shower, and we said, let's go. And so we drove up the canyon and watched meteors for about an hour. It was really remarkable, and I had a number of thoughts while we were doing that. One was, we live in a great place, a place where we're so close to nature and beauty. But another was, as you sit lying in the back of a truck looking at the sky, it makes you a little contemplative. And I thought about how quick our time here is and the obligation that we have while we're here to do something that matters, that makes a difference, that makes the future better for those who are going to follow us. And it's that attitude that's been driving everything that we've done as part of the Point. So we're going to give you just a little overview now so you have some grounding, and then we'll free up some time for you to go and talk to our subject matter expert. So the area we're talking about, known as the Point, is 600 acres of state-owned land currently occupied by the Utah State Prison. Today, it's the prison. Tomorrow, in a few years, it's going to become a place that I think we can all be proud of. It's a place that helps us solve problems, an innovation community, a place where we come up with new ideas, commercialize them, use them to make life better. It's a place where people can gather, where we can go to nice restaurants, where we can enjoy parks and open space, a place where people can find attainable housing, where there are great opportunities for education and growth. This will be a place that we want people of Utah to say, this is ours, and we're happy to share it with the world. So let me just tell you a little bit of background on the process. This has been some years in the making. There have been a number of processes, the decision the state made to move the prison to a new site. There's been work with the Point of the Mountain Development Commission to look at the broader Point of the Mountain region and create a vision for that area. And then in 2018, the legislature created the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority, specifically to oversee the repurposing of this land. So who's involved? The Point of the Mountain State Land Authority is an 11-person board created by the legislature, appointed by primarily the governor and legislative leaders. And our co-chairs are Lieutenant Governor Henderson, who sends her apologies, wanted to be here but was called away, and Representative Lowry Snow from Washington County, who will be joining us soon. The rest of the members of the board include, we've got 4 legislators, 2 local mayors, the heads of a couple of key state agencies, the head of the Utah System of Higher Education, so that's important, private sector real estate. These are the guiding principles adopted by the board. These are what guides the decisions that are made, and number 1 is to promote the public interest. We understand that we are stewards of the public trust and have a deep and sincere obligation to make sure that we're using the resources to make life better. We're taking a long view. We're thinking long term. We want to set the standard. We want to develop in a way that others will follow, that can make us a better community, not just a better site. You know, this is a place where we're involving people. We're open, we're transparent. We're committed to integrity throughout the process. So one of the important aspects of this is, as I said, this is a public project. It's public land, we all own it. We've got a stake in it, and so all of us need to have a voice. And over the last several months, we've gone above and beyond in an effort to make sure we're listening to the various voices out there. We've created 5 working groups of experts from the state, working in the areas identified on the screen. They helped us develop a report that included 6 key vision elements. These are concepts that we want included in this plan. From having an active, engaged, vibrant community where people can get together and enjoy being around each other, a world-class transportation system that is multimodal, future-focused, and gets people around, a sense of innovation where we're trying to create a place where ideas are generated, where people from different disciplines come together and solve problems. We've got economic development. We're creating opportunity here so our young people can have world-class careers right here in Utah. Sustainability. We need to be one with our environment. Make sure that we're developing and growing in ways that are truly sustainable and that can preserve the resources that we're blessed with. And the sense of collaboration. We're not looking at this site alone, we're working with the region. We've got a stakeholder advisory committee composed of people representing a number of different groups in our community, from planners to housing advocates, to bicycle interests, and others. They've provided really wonderful input to us. Over the course of the last several months, over 10,000 people have been involved in sharing their ideas through public meetings and open houses and committees and surveys. It's made a real difference, and it has steered the direction that we've headed. The plan has evolved over time because of the input we've received. So where are we now? We started the planning process in January. Here we are about 7 months later with a framework master plan for the site, and you're going to hear more about it in a second. This plan's been developed by a world-renowned planning architecture firm, Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. They've been working very closely with our board, with our stakeholder groups, to develop a plan that is truly Utah at the heart. We selected SOM in a highly competitive process. Some of the best firms around the world applied. We've been very pleased with the services we've received from SOM. So before we turn it over, I just wanted to show you a little preview of coming attractions, some of what we might see at this site. This gives you an idea of the layout of the site, some of the features, and we'll go into more detail there. You can see it's bounded by I-15, by the front runner tracks, by the Bangerter Highway, well served by transportation, and a lot of variety in the site. This is the Wasatch District, primarily office, but you'll see there's green space and parks, and gathering areas interspersed throughout these areas. We've tried to plan it in really forward-thinking ways, creating a 21st century community with the latest ideas. Gathering at the park. This is the Central Park. We would hope that it would be a place where people can come and sit and enjoy concerts and enjoy time together. So you've heard our commitment to do what we can today to make life better, not just today, but for tomorrow and for decades to come. We appreciate your interest. We're glad you're here and look forward to hearing more of your ideas and thoughts.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're here at the Point Framework Plan Open House. We have Draper Mayor Troy Walker here with us. He's representing his community, and his constituents. He serves on the Point of the Mountain Development Commission and the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority. And the Point is all located within the Draper city limits,
It
right?
is. Yep. The prison's been in Draper since it's been the prison, and now the Point is in Draper.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it
so
is.
tell us about the Point.
Well, the Point, if you haven't been out this way, and is about a 680-acre parcel that the Utah State Prison currently occupies. So part of it's inside the wire, part of it's outside, but it's a large parcel owned by the state of Utah. So it's really unique in that sense that there's a big giant piece of property right in the location that is owned by one entity, our state, and this unique development opportunity. So the prison's moving. We think roughly middle of next summer, you might see the inmates relocated to the new facility, and then that spot will be vacant, and we'll be able to start doing things.
That's pretty soon.
Yes.
How exciting. Tell us what this means for the Draper community to have this here.
Well, I like to think about it, like we've had the prison in our community for a long time. And the prison is something that every county, every city, everybody in Utah benefits from because we house prisoners from, every county. And so, we've been contributing to the greater good of Utah and Salt Lake County for a long time. This is an opportunity for the site to really contribute to the greater good of Utah and Salt Lake County, and then back to Draper as well. As it develops and it goes on the tax rolls and we start to actually collect tax. If you look at my city and you see the area where property tax and sales tax are generated, that's a big giant black hole right now. But it's going to become a great big light, great big generation center going forward. So that's what it means. It's the future. It's like it's the opportunity that we're all looking for.
Yeah, that's great. You've been a vocal advocate of this
Yes.
redevelopment for some time. Maybe tell us what are some of the features that you're most excited about?
I have been an advocate since I ran for office the first time. I've wanted to see the prison move, something I've worked on my entire political career. But the things I'm the most excited about are that, one, we're getting rid of a prison and we're getting economic opportunity. But in this particular site, we have this comprehensive plan which has a substantial amount of flexibility, built into it. But we have this opportunity to really find, an anchor employer, anchor research facility, quality housing, quality recreation and entertainment opportunities. All of it happening, right here, just sort of concentrated. They say location, and this one is on, it's served by 2 freeway exits, it's served by a Bangerter Highway, and it's served by Front Runner, close by now, and ultimately it'll be served by a brand new transit line that will go through the prison, up over the freeway and south to Lehigh, and then ultimately down to Vineyard. So and one of the great things we're going to have happen with this site is we're going to connect essentially the Jordan River Parkway Trail across, we call it River to Range, across the freeway and into our Porter Rockwell trail system. And people might think, oh, trails. Well, these trail systems are quite phenomenal. And that Jordan River system is one of the longest trails in the United States, east of the Mississippi or west of Mississippi. It ties into Porter Rockwell, which ties into Murdoch. And so all of a sudden, you have this ability to actively commute to work, actively commute from home or to go out and recreate. So those opportunities are phenomenal. Plus, we're going to have mass transit that's going to serve the east side through the prison side. And so this is a place where it's my goal. The car is not the king, and this is a place where you're going to be able to live. There'll be circulators. There'll be the ability to live there, play there, work there. And if you want to get out, you don't even have to have a car. You could go across the river to Range and enjoy Corner Canyon, or go down and enjoy Lehigh's trails, or go down to Murdoch Trail and ride all the way to Provo Canyon. So there's going to be some great opportunities.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of great opportunities for Draper and for the whole state.
Yes.
With this new redevelopment.
Yes.
So those are all my questions I have for you, Mayor.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much.
And we'll have some more experts here to join us in just
All
a
right.
minute. So all right, thanks for joining us. We have State Representative Stephen Handy here with us. Thanks for joining
So
us.
happy to be here. How fun is this today?
Yeah, there's a big
It's
crowd
cool
here.
in here, but it's really hot outside.
Yeah, thankfully it's cool
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah.
So you serve on the State Land Authority. Tell us about the work that the Land Authority has been doing to help us get to this point.
Well, yeah, I'm a state representative from Davis County, from Layton, but my whole life I've been traveling by the point of the mountain, and know the prison well. I mean, no, I've never been in there, but I know the prison well. And this has been so exciting. I was so thrilled that I was appointed to serve on the Point board. And so we've been working on this for 2 years, and I am telling you, to be able to be involved in something like this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the people of the state of Utah. And I just am so enthused that we're going to do it right.
Yeah, so we're doing it right because you have a framework plan in place. Tell me about some of the features of it that you're most excited about.
Well, what I'm so excited about, and the board approved earlier this week the framework plan, and we've been working for months to get to this point. And when I finally saw the whole, I'd seen bits and pieces, and when I finally saw the whole plan, I was just blown away. I mean, it really was. I'm excited about the different districts and the fact that within these areas they've got, what people want today, open space, an entertainment district, a centralized area, and then these outlying areas that have to do with these residential areas that will be built in the future. And to think of 14,000 people that could live here at this site in the future.
Wow.
A couple of years ago, I went to a really great presentation to learn about what's called smart cities. And I've been kind of a voice on the board talking about smart cities. And so when they come up with a 15-minute city, meaning, people should only have one vehicle, it will be truly walkable. And people can live and work and be entertained right there at the Point.
Wow, that's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, so one last question. You say you're from Davis County, but you know a lot about what's going on here.
Yes.
What does this mean for the state in general to have this development here?
This is something that we have tried to keep a vision in front of us that the whole country can look at. This is the way that you really can do this. I mean, this is an odd kind of a thing in a way for the state of Utah to be in the development business. But we've had to kind of learn to say, if we're going to do this, we have to really master plan this. Then a chunk here and a chunk here and a chunk there and a chunk here. And our population, the census results are out today, 3.2 million. The center of the state population-wise is moving out of Salt Lake County into Utah County. So this will be an amazing opportunity. And I think we've thought about all of the traffic issues. You can't keep adding lanes to I-15. We clearly understand that. But front runners nearby, and people are going to have to be forced into more mass transit than they have in the past. And that's a really good thing. And I just love the sustainability issues, a 50% reduction in carbon footprint here, and to really be able to get to zero. It's amazing. We should all be so happy about this, to see what this is going to be in the future.
No,
so
that's
thank
great.
you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, and I'm really excited about this, and congrats on getting to this point.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. So thanks for joining us. You're Arathi Gowda?
Arthi Gowda.
Arthi Gowda. So I know with the Point Framework Plan, we're doing our part to reduce water and resource use, improve the air quality, and lessen our carbon footprint. So I know you're the sustainability expert. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the sustainability plans for the Point?
Sure. I'm Arthi Gowda, and I don't know if camera or the audience is here to. Okay, just to look at them. So I'm Arthi Gowda with Skidmore and Zumero, and we're the master planner for the project, but we're also the sustainable consultancy. And the project, we're so excited about it. And there were two aspects that we really focused in on in terms of sustainability. Quality of life and then resource savings. And so of those 5 key elements you talked about, the idea of mobility, so improving the air quality, and then also looking at ecology are really about the quality of life. So those were elements that we really focused on for the project. Those of you in the public might notice that everyone is 5 minutes away from public transportation and open space. So that's really about the quality of life, and then improving the air quality and the health of everyone on the site. And then we looked at three key categories that were about resource savings. So that was about energy and carbon. So again, we've heard a lot of really positive information from the public about net zero. And so, sorry about that if you guys couldn't hear me. So we've heard so much positive enthusiasm about net zero. So that essentially means that we are producing as much as we're using on site in terms of our energy requirements.
Oh, wow.
We've also heard, of course, a lot about water conservation, and so we're going to be very aggressive in terms of our fixture performance. Also thinking about how we're saving rainwater, collecting it and reusing it on site and recharging the aquifer. Everyone in Utah is very conscious of that. And also thinking about waste. So how can our economy be more circular? Thinking about local construction. How can we reduce the waste that we're sending to landfill? So we have a target of 75% of the waste not going to landfill and being recycled. And also thinking about recycling on site. So how can we make it very accessible for everyone to reuse within the development?
Well, that's awesome. So you guys have thought about a lot of different factors when it comes to sustainability. And I know you touched on this a little, but if you could go over, Utah is experiencing a lot of drought right now. So we're thinking a lot about water use. Can you share, again, about like your water resources and your metrics to, measure those successes?
Sure. So essentially what we're asking is for every building on the site to build with 40% more water efficiency than today's code. So the first thing that we want to do is really save resources. The other thing we want to do is be really mindful of all of the landscape. So you're going to hear from our landscape architect, and they're going to talk about how a large majority of the plants on the site are meant to be native and adaptive. So they're using a lot less water than typically would be the case. They're also designed, the landscape systems, so that rainwater is collected and then can be reused. So we don't have permanent irrigation systems. So in combination, both of these things would have a huge savings on water. We're also considering if there are demonstration areas or if we can push further and have gray water reuse in some of the buildings. It's not something that's very common here in Utah, but I think we're all aware of how precious water is and really want to conserve it. So it's something that we're thinking about for the project, and we hope to develop it further as the project progresses.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for sharing those insights. I could see why you're the leading sustainability expert. We're grateful for your work, so thank you. All right, so I'm here with David Dobbins, who's the city manager of Draper City. The Point is wholly within the Draper City limits, so that's an exciting development for you. Can you tell us a little bit about The Point and what it means to Draper?
Sure. So we've been working on this for years. Obviously, it's like you said, it's in our boundaries, and our expectation is that it will be fully integrated into the rest of Draper, and that it'll be something that serves, not just the region, but hopefully all of our current residents will find things there that they can do in terms of recreation or entertainment, or even places to live. And then the connection from the west side of the city to the east side in terms of trails is something I think all of our residents will be happy about.
Yeah, no, I think it's an exciting development. And Draper on its own already is a great city. Maybe tell me a bit about Draper right now and what it means to add The Point to the community.
Sure. So, Draper's a great community. We have great residents who already enjoy living here. One of the things that we always look at is ways that we can improve everyone's quality of life. I think one of the things that we look at is housing opportunities. We did a survey that showed, or asked our current residents where they would like to see future development, especially higher density housing. And the overwhelming majority of our current residents said they'd like to see that happen on the prison site. And so it makes sense for us in terms of providing more housing opportunities to do that on this site.
Yeah, no, that's great and exciting. And I know you serve on the Point Advisory Committee.
Yes.
Maybe you can share some more about the process to get to this point. You mentioned surveys. We have an open house right now. What kinds of things have you guys talked about?
So we've looked at, from kind of the development side, is to look at what makes sense in terms of the layout of roads, what kind of development, so the architecture, to looking at the mix of retail and commercial and residential, because we want to make sure that it's balanced and that we do it in a way that's a complement to the rest of the city. and that when it develops, it actually turns into something that the city can provide services to in a way that doesn't impact our current service levels.
Yeah, well, good. So a lot of planning has gone into this. So final question, I guess, what is your the feature that you're most excited about with this plan?
I'd go back to what they're calling the river to range trail connections. So that'll provide, right now, if you want to go from the west side of Draper, or go from the Jordan River Trail to our thousands of acres of open space and trails, it's really hard to get to. This will provide a connection so you could stay on a dedicated trail from the Jordan River over I-15 up into Corner Canyon. You could ride all the way down into Utah County and then go back the other direction as well. So I think that for us is something that's already missing for us, and it'll solve that problem.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that feature as well.
Great, so am I.
Thanks for joining us.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back to us. We're still here at the Point Framework Plan Open House. And I'm here with Josh Gibbons, who is a transportation planner. He helped conduct the transportation modeling for the framework plan. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you've done for the Point.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I'm Josh Gibbons. I work for Hales Engineering. We're based out of Lehi, Utah. I grew up in Salt Lake County. I know the area well. It's been great working on this project. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, tell us about your planning method. You're thinking about cars, pedestrians, bicyclists. So
Yeah, of course.
talk about the process.
Yeah. Well, I think we all know traffic gets pretty crazy in Utah. It's growing quickly. So we wanted to make sure that this site had a multimodal system where we could carry people on multiple modes, whether they're on transit, they're walking, biking, vehicles as well, but we wanted to make sure the priority was on transit. So.
Okay. And I heard that you'll have a bus rapid transit system. Could you touch on that?
Yeah, of course. So bus rapid transit is what we like to call, we say it's tracks on wheels, basically, where it's in a dedicated space. It's going to be the whole line from Draper down to Lehi will be 80% in dedicated space.
Wow.
It'll be similar to tracks where you can be at the station, you can hop on, hop off, get your tickets, just like tracks, and it'll move quickly because it's in a dedicated space.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever it's crossing a road, it'll have priority instead of vehicles. So.
Okay, good to know. And then can you tell us about the river to range feature with the trails?
Yeah, of course. So there's a lot of great recreation elements to the east and Draper, so we want to make sure we connected that. So the BRT will have a dedicated crossing over I-15, and along with that, we want to have a pedestrian crossing with that river to range trail, where we can get people down into the project site over I-15. They can go through some open space there, and then eventually cross over Bangerter Highway too.
Awesome.
So.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a lot of great features. You've been planning a lot for this transportation system. I guess what's the feature that you're most excited about with the Point?
I think the BRT, I've used the BRT, the Bus Rapid Transit, that's in Provo and Orem. It's a great system to get to different events down there, and that's what I'm most excited about for sure. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling us about the new transportation system.
No
Looking
problem.
forward to it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks. State Representative Snow, thank you for joining us tonight. So I know you have a wealth of knowledge about this project, but you don't even live in this area, which is impressive that you know so much.
No, I live in Washington County, and in fact, I flew up on a late afternoon or late morning flight, but I'm really glad to be here. So
Yeah, we're happy to have you. So you have a lot of dedication and commitment to this work, obviously. Can you tell us about the Point?
the Point really represents the prison Draper site in the middle of Draper. It's been there for many, many years. I remember growing up in northern Utah as a young man and driving south on the old highway before there was a freeway and going by the prison. There was nothing else out here. But over time, development has caught up and surrounded that area. And we're building a new prison. And so it's time to take a look at this property and see how it can be redeveloped and used to benefit the people of the state of Utah.
Yeah, great. And then could you go into how did we get to this point? You know, it's been several years in the making.
Sure. I remind people that to some extent the work that we're doing here with the board that's overseeing the development, in some ways the work began a few years ago with legislation that we passed that said let's study all of this area known as the Point of the Mountain area. From Sandy south to Lehigh, from Draper out to Harriman, because this area was undergoing such significant growth and significant impact to our transportation infrastructure and everything. I think wise leaders said we need to really study this area. As a result of that, and with our consultant Envision Utah, we developed a report. And part of that report included significant input from the residents about what they wanted, things that were important in terms of transportation, quality of life, air quality, recreation, trails. All of those were identified, and then essentially when I did the legislation that created this board, I moved most of those elements into this board that then works on this plan that we're seeing today. So a lot of what you're seeing today in terms of what's important is a carryover from the work that we did, plus incredible amount of input from citizens into what this will look like.
Tell me more about that, the public input process, what you guys have been doing.
Well, we've estimated that we've had something like 10,000 different contacts,
Wow.
specific pieces of input from citizens about what they would like, what they expect in this area. And that's come from a number of different sources, including public meetings, some surveys, people going on our website and leaving information. But from all of that, as well as the input from the Envision Utah study, we've tried to incorporate all of that into this plan. And so what you're seeing here today is really the culmination of all of that work. It's significant because unlike private development, we have the ability, because this is state-owned, to really develop this not just from the standpoint of maximizing the return financially, but developing it in a way that the people of Utah will feel good about. They can look at it and say, I can see why there's so much open space, because that's important. I can see why we have this river to range green area, because that was important to us. So we've worked really hard at building those elements into this plan to reflect the input from our citizens.
Wow, great. It sounds like you guys have put a lot of work into this. I guess one final question. You mentioned a couple of the features of the plan. What would you say you're most excited about?
Well, one of the main features was making certain that we created an environment for economic development, sustained economic development. And I think in many ways we're successful in that. But one of the things that I like really excited about is the amount of property we've dedicated to open space. Something like 140 acres set aside with this plan for development of parks, for this green corridor from the Jordan River to the foothills east of Draper and their trail system. I'm excited because I want it to be a gathering place for families. I want my grandchildren to say, you know, let's go there, let's get something to eat, let's play in the park, let's participate in the entertainment. And I think we've tried to create a little bit of a gathering place too, some place that feels community. And so I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like you guys are doing a great job, and you're making this into a generational opportunity, like you said. So yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. Congrats to getting to this point. It's really exciting.
Thank you, Brittany.
Yeah, thanks for representing us.
Bye-bye.
So, my name is Muriel Sochimil, and I help with the communications for The Point. I am here today with Scott Cuthbertson. He is our newly hired Director of Operations for The Point. He is managing the day-to-day on the site and comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge. So, Scott, thanks so much for being here today.
It's great
Tell
to be
us
here.
a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm happy to, Muriel. So I came from a background in management consulting. Spent about 15 years working with some firms that advised on big development projects around the country and around the globe. And so I was really excited to be able to come and work on a project here in our own backyard that's really second to none.
Tell us a little bit about your perspective there on the point. When you say second to none, why is the point so significant?
Yeah, so you could look far and wide and not find a project like this one. I think for a number of reasons. One, it's located in the heart of Silicon Slopes, which is a really vibrant tech scene, obviously. It's also kind of at the intersection of two of the fastest growing counties anywhere around, certainly in the state, in the region as well. And it's also operating on a clean slate, which is very rare. So we have an opportunity to come in, state-controlled and owned land that can bring the most benefit to the people of the state, and really in a collaborative way. I think that's something unique to Utah, is how we come together and solve complex problems. And when you put that all together, it's really a rare opportunity.
It's Utah's secret sauce.
That's right.
It's not the fry sauce, it's the collaboration.
Absolutely.
That is so great. Well, like you say, the point is so well positioned, right, between Utah's two most populous counties, right there in the middle of our largest labor sheds. So talk to us maybe about kind of how the point will become an economic catalyst, the number of jobs we anticipate generating on the site, the types of companies we're trying to attract.
Yeah, happy to. So that's something that's really sets the project apart. It's going to be a mixed-use design, a place where people want to come and live and work and play. There'll be an innovation district, which is a unique and critical component of it that will attract innovative companies with forward-thinking ideas. It's going to be a place where talented young professionals will want to come and work. There'll be a research present. There'll be accelerators, incubators. There'll be also an office and residential component, so you could literally come and live here and work here. In the plan, we have envisioned about 14,000 or so residents that could change, could go up, and 35,000 jobs that we're expecting will be generated from the opportunity.
That is amazing. So how then, if we have 15,000 residents anticipated to live on the site and 35,000 to work on the site, how are people going to get around? We're already in this narrow geographic bottleneck with I-15, but we also have front runner and transit improvements coming. So talk to me about the transit plan for the site.
Sure. Transit is critical, obviously, and this plan was purpose designed to be able to accommodate the type of growth that's going to come. It's really going to be a model, we believe, for smart development. So there will be bus rapid transit, the gold standard, which is going to be accessible to the site, be able to bring in people from outside of it. There'll also be a nice boulevard, north-south road that goes through that'll accommodate, we think, 5 lanes of traffic. There'll also be 14 other intersections or access points, roads, that'll come into the project. So transit will be there. There'll also be a circulator that will take people around the site. So you could come in here and really get around pretty easily without a car. In fact, we think this will be a one-car community. You certainly could have more, but someone could live here with one car or could live here without a vehicle and be able to get in and out of the site.
And living without a car seems to resonate with a lot of millennials, the next generation and even beyond that, right, that are looking to live in a sustainable community where they don't have to drive around to get to what they need.
Right, absolutely. And I think you'll see that. Now, this will be a place where people from all walks of life can live. Certainly will want to come and visit. But you'll be able to walk around anywhere in the city from the center of it within 15 minutes. It's going to be Utah's first from-scratch 15-minute city.
That is amazing. Utah's first 15-minute city.
That's right.
So, when you mention being able to live and work on the site, housing attainability is a hot topic here in Utah.
Yeah.
So are we planning for people to live on the site that are of all different income levels?
I think we are. I think that there's going to be options for everyone. Different product types. We would envision single-family homes. We're looking at apartments, looking at condos. There'll be mixed-use components throughout the site. But it will be, we think, attainable housing. There will be affordability will be a part of this as well, and that's something that's important to the board. It's important to us and the authority. We want to be a place that is equitable for anybody who wants to live there.
So we may not be able to solve all of Utah's affordable housing challenges, but we can be part of the solution.
Absolutely, Muriel.
What else would you like to tell our live stream viewers today?
Well, we thank you for joining us. It's a great feeling, very energetic here in the room, and we know that there's a lot of attention on the project. We feel a heavy responsibility with the Land Authority to make sure this is done right. We're committed to doing it transparently with a focus on accountability, being above board in all our decision making, making sure that Utahns get the most benefit from this project.
Perfect. This is the Utahns project after all, right? It's owned by Utahns, so they have a say at every step of the way.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you, Muriel.
With me today is a member of our communications team, Colton Stock. Colton is our in-house guru. He knows so much about technology and was able to set up for us an augmented reality simulation of the framework plan. We wanted to show it to you today.
Definitely. So here at the Fred House Training Academy, we have so many visuals and renderings and charts that people can view and kind of have an in-person look at the framework plan in detail. But for all of you viewing at home or elsewhere, we do have an option for you to bring the point framework plan into an augmented reality within your own home. And so how we do this is it's very simple. It's on social media. And so if you take your phone and go on Instagram and type in @thepointutah, that pulls up our profile page. And you can go there. And when you're there on the page, you can tap on the star icon, which pulls up the AR effects or augmented reality effects. And from there, you can tap on the View the Plan AR effect, and then from there, you can try it, and it automatically goes to your story. And so with this, you can view a 3D model of the plan on your story and kind of place it in your own home. Similar to like an Amazon purchase where you have, an object you're viewing on your table, you can view the framework plan 3D rendering on a table. And that's the key. You need to find a flat surface for this to work, but you're able to see it. And then from there, you can take a video or a picture and post it to your story. If you do, please tag @thepointutah or use the hashtag #planthepoint. And that will let us see you kind of play around with the plan in your own home.
I love that. As a working mom, I totally understand, how to use augmented reality for, purchasing a piece of furniture, right? You want to take a look in your living room, see how it fits before you buy it. Well, see how the plan fits. Take a look at the point in the comfort of your own home. Wear stretchy pants or sweatpants. Set up on your couch in your living room. Pull it up, as Colton said, Instagram account. Okay,
Instagram.
so look at our Instagram account. Our handle is The Point Utah. Take a look at it, pull it up, and let us know what you think. Go ahead and share your story on your account. Tag us. And make some comments.
Yep.
Anything else that we should tell our viewers?
No, that kind of explains it. And I love this option because even if you're not here with us at the open house at the Fred House Training Academy, you do have an option to see the framework plan in detail in your own home, which is great, especially in this pandemic. And then we also do have a Facebook option as well as Instagram, and that will be live really soon. It's just a post, you'll click try it, and it'll go to your story as well. So.
Perfect. Thanks,
Yep,
Colton.
no problem.
So I'm here now with Alan Matheson, the Point Executive Director. Alan, thanks so much for joining us.
I'm happy to be here, and welcome to everybody that's participating in the live stream. We appreciate your interest and hope that you're learning something from all of this.
Well, and if they haven't yet, they're about to, because you're here and we'd love to ask you a few questions.
Absolutely.
So Alan, what's the point?
No, this is the 600 acres of state-owned land currently occupied by the Utah State Prison that is about to be transformed into one of the great opportunities in our state's history. It's an economic development opportunity, it's a community building opportunity, it's an innovation opportunity, and a sustainability opportunity. And we think we'll have a community that we can enjoy together and be proud of.
I think folks have heard a lot this week about this framework plan that the board officially adopted on Tuesday morning. Tell us a little bit more about the plan.
There's so many elements. The plan itself is 600 pages, so sit down. It's going to take me a
good
while to
reading.
get through it all. But there are a number of elements to it, and it really is designed on a number of principles. So one is certainly sustainability. We want it to be a model of sustainability, use less water in our dry climate, be better for air quality, use less energy, net zero.
As the former head of the Utah Department of Environmental Quality, you bring a lot of expertise to the sustainability framework for the plan.
That's a piece that's personally important. It's important for our health, it's important for our economy, it's important for our quality of life. And we've heard loud and clear from the public that that's something that they care about. We've heard that transportation's important, so we're looking at future-focused transportation.
Tell us about this autonomous shuttle.
Well, listen, this is going to be a place where, as we've said, the car is not king. It's a place where people can get around, maybe own one car or even no cars. They can live, work, and play on the site. They'll be able to get around walking. We can walk from the middle to anywhere on the site in 15 minutes. But we also are going to have an autonomous shuttle. We think it'll be autonomous.
Okay.
And it'll get people around. So you can come to the site on transit, get off, jump on a circulator, and be within 5-minute walk of anywhere on the site.
Wow. Bet that has health benefits as well, if you can just kind of walk anywhere in Utah's first 15-minute community.
That's an important part of it. People want to have active lifestyles. We want to be able to get out and move around. And so to facilitate that, we've got a number of ways for people to walk around, a number of kind of green corridors so that you can access any place in the site, walking or on bikes, without getting on a road, just riding paths through green space.
Tell us about the River to Range signature feature.
This is something that everybody loves, and with good reason. We've got wonderful trails in Utah. But this is going to connect the Bonneville or the Jordan River Parkway Trail to the foothill trails in the Wasatch. And that opens up a number of opportunities for loop rides and accessing the Murdoch Canal Trail and far beyond. It's also got a habitat function.
Okay.
So a place for wildlife to be able to migrate through the site from the river to the range. It'll be a beautiful place. You can go and walk and contemplate and just enjoy being in an open, natural area.
I bet that will instigate a lot of the great ideas that we anticipate coming from the site, particularly the Innovation District. Talk to us about what we envision for the Innovation District, being this kind of collision of space between academic and industry.
I think we all recognize that there are a lot of challenges in the world. And those challenges are going to be solved in different ways, but certainly through good thinking and innovation and finding new and better ways of doing things, cleaner ways. We want this to be an innovation community, a place with a culture of creativity. So you can expect a higher education presence. There will be accelerators and incubators that will take the germs of new ideas and help them grow and flower through mentoring and funding and really become viable commercial enterprises that will create jobs and it will provide funding for our education system and the other things we care about.
So enhancing our quality of life here in Utah, not only through the benefits provided directly on the site, but also the innovations that can come from it.
Exactly. We're not looking at this as a 600-acre site. We're looking at it as a catalyst for change that can occur, a catalyst for change in the way we design our communities so that they can be more sustainable, a catalyst in inspiring economic opportunity, new jobs, creating these intersections, these collisions of different disciplines where new ideas are formed.
Literal and figurative intersections. Love it.
That's right.
What else would you like to share with our live audience today?
Well, listen, this is a great opportunity, I think, for all of us. But it's important that we do it in the right way. And that means getting the best thinking. We've got tremendous professionals that have been participating, but beyond that, we've had over 10,000 members of the public get involved. We want that to continue. You bring ideas, you bring energy, you help us understand better and better Utah values. And we want this to be a Utah-inspired community, and one that we can all feel good about.
You bring up such a good point, pun intended.
To say, yeah.
Yes, that the framework plan truly reflects what Utahns said that they want, right, at the site, what their values and priorities are. including what we just discussed with the signature river to range feature and the connectivity, the quality of life components in the innovation district.
I've seen something here that I've never seen before. And that was, there was a public process with the Point of the Mountain Development Commission involving thousands of people, and they outlined their priorities, things they'd like to see in the Point of the Mountain region. All of those got translated directly into legislation that created our authority. So from the public to law, guiding the things that we do. So at the end of the day, we fully expect that this will be a site that reflects what people said they want and that they care about for their kids and subsequent generations.
Public input was foundational to our work, and the public will be meaningfully involved every step of the way going forward.
Yeah, this is our project.
The big
And
R.
The big R, everyone in the state. And so we hope you look at it that way and are willing to weigh in, help it succeed, help make it better every step of the way.
Thank you so much.
Oh, this has been fun.
All right, so we talked a lot about how the Point is generating economic opportunity for Utahns for generations to come. We have Erin Talkington here with us. Welcome. You're our economic development expert, and your team has been conducting a lot of market research for the Point. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing for the Point.
Sure. So, our role is to really understand the market and the economic opportunity here, and to make sure that we're planning for something that's realistic but aspirational, and really builds on the character of the surrounding community and the strengths and the opportunities that are already there. And we want to be additive and bring jobs and housing to the region. And so our role is to make sure that what the planners are drawing, as simply as possible, is something that we can actually achieve.
Yeah, well, that's great. And so you talked a little bit about your planning. So how will the Point become an economic catalyst for the region and the state?
Yeah, so the location is really unique. You don't get 600-acre sites in a place that's already surrounded by housing and jobs and has such high-quality jobs as somewhere like Silicon Slopes. And so, this is an opportunity to infill and to really think about how we can add to that job base and add jobs that are going to attract other jobs and other industries and things that we want to build on. Really rounding out some of the industries that are in the area so that, we aren't just pulling jobs from other places. We're really building the economy here.
Yeah. Could you talk more about the jobs? Do you know how many jobs the Point will generate?
Yeah, so I think our current projections are about 35,000 to 40,000 high-quality jobs, and,
Wow.
and we're really excited about that. I think we've tried to have a great housing and jobs balance on site, but it really is a significant economic opportunity.
Yeah. You mentioned housing. So with the framework plan, there are new housing options coming to the area. Can you touch more on that?
Sure, so the plan has about 7,400 new housing units in it, and that's a really wide variety of options. There's single-family homes, there's townhomes, there's apartments, there's condos. So we hope there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that and know that we need to serve the workforce. We're going to bring this many jobs, and we need to offer housing that's available to a lot of people, as opposed to just a few people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Affordable housing is a big issue right now, so I'm sure you guys have thought about that.
Yeah, and there's, we've received clear direction from our board that, they're interested and focused on that issue too. We haven't put specifics in this plan right now, but it's on everybody's minds and it's on our minds too.
Yeah, that's good. It's a priority for you, which I'm sure all the Utahns will appreciate.
Yeah, and that's, we know that in order to attract the job base that we want here and the types of anchors or catalytic uses that we might think are possible, whether it's a university-driven use or an innovation district or, a new hospital or a biotech tenant or, a company that hasn't been founded yet, that'll be founded in 10 years and might be founded here, that we need to have lots of types of housing nearby in order to make this a place that they want to be.
And it sounds like you're looking into several different industries probably coming into the Point.
Yeah, it's a big site. There's a lot of opportunity. We have, areas of office that might be 2 or 3 stories and have big footprints. And we have areas of office where, you could build high-rise if somebody wanted to. So, I think we're really going to have a wide variety of tenants here. And our goal is to be a place that everybody wants to come, whether it's to hang out or to work or to live.
That's great. It's really exciting. Just one final question for you. You've listed a lot of things that are coming to the Point. What would you say is your favorite thing, favorite feature of the plan?
My favorite feature is the River to Range Trail. I think it's really exciting, and it's a thing that makes the plan really uniquely Utah because everybody moves here for the recreation and the access to recreation. And that connection, as well as all of the smaller trail and walking connections through the community, mean that you really could get around on a bike or on foot without having to interact that much with cars. And there's just so many places you can't do that.
Yeah, that's going to be a really unique feature. Trail connections, new housing, new jobs. It's really exciting. Thank you for all the work you've been doing, and congrats to getting to this point.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Just want to say thanks for attending the Point Framework Plan Open House. We have a crowd here in person. We are also live streaming this on the Point's YouTube channel and on Facebook and on our Twitter accounts. Recordings for this event will be available afterwards on our website, thepointutah.org. My name is Brittany Johnston, and I'm a member of the Point Communications team. I will be introducing our two speakers today and also help hosting the event for our live stream. Over the next hour or so, we'll hear a 15-minute presentation at each hour, starting with Alan Matheson, the Point Executive Director. So I'll turn the time over to him.
Thanks, Brittany, and welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here. It shows that you care. You know, some people talk about there being apathy in our communities, and when I see a good group participating in something like this, it reminds me that we're in this together, and there are good people that do care about our communities in the future. So we welcome those of you who are here in the room. We welcome those of you who are watching on our live stream. So I was thinking the other day, several years ago, I was in a meeting with some folks from the community, and there was a world-renowned planner who was at that meeting speaking. And he had done projects all over the world. And one of the things he said really caught my attention. He said, Utah is different from any other place I've worked in two respects. Number one, there's a willingness here to collaborate like I've never seen anywhere else in the world. And number two, there's a concern for the next generation that I've never seen anywhere else. I thought about that, and that's exactly kind of the secret sauce of this project and many others in Utah. This is going to be, it has been, a collaborative effort. A lot of people participating, thousands of citizens, elected officials, experts in various fields, all coming together toward that second goal of making sure that the world is better for those that follow us, and that we're thinking not just about building a place for today, but building a place for tomorrow as well. So that's driving us. I know it's driving those of you who have taken the time to be here and be interested enough to share your thoughts. So thank you. I just want to give kind of a quick overview of process and who we are, and then we'll do a little overview of the plan itself and let you keep talking. So, the Point, 600 acres of state land currently occupied by the Utah State Prison. This is an area that today is housing inmates, and in a few years will be one of the most impressive and well-known developments, certainly in Utah and probably beyond. It's a place that's going to be an innovation community, where we will take on some of the challenges of the world to solve problems. We'll bring the public and private sector together, higher education, funding. It's a place that will create opportunity so that our children, their children, will be able to have world-class careers here in Utah and not have to move somewhere else. It'll be a place that will be a demonstration site for sustainability practices that will embrace the beauty of the area around us and show how we can live in a way that produces fewer emissions, that improves air quality, that uses less water, that uses less energy. It'll be a fun place. It'll be a place where people can gather, go to nice restaurants. It'll be a place where you can go for entertainment, to enjoy a bike ride, walking through parks. It'll be a place that will house a true community, people of all walks of life and all different backgrounds. We want this to be, as we've said, a place that's known globally and loved locally. That means a lot of help in getting there. So let me tell you, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but this has been a while in development. There have been other groups that have made a decision to move the prison. There have been other groups that have looked at the region and how we can improve the Point of the Mountain region, a place where over the last 10 years, the vast majority, or more jobs have been created here than any other place in our state, and will continue. And in 2018, the legislature created the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority and gave us marching orders based specifically on public input to look at jobs and workforce development and quality of life and transportation and open space. So who's involved? The Point of the Mountain State Land Authority is a group, a board of 11 people. It's headed now by our co-chairs, Lowry Snow, who's here with us, legislator from Washington County. What does that tell you about the importance of this project statewide, not just here? And the other co-chair, our Lieutenant Governor, Deidre Henderson, who regrets that she wasn't able to be here today, fully wanted to be. Members of our board include 4 legislators, 2 mayors of local communities, the heads of state agencies, the Commissioner of Higher Education in Utah, and private sector expertise in real estate. They've developed a series of priorities, a series of principles to guide the decisions that we make. Number 1, promote the public interest. We understand who owns this site. It's the people of the state. And we need to reflect their values and make sure that through this effort, we make their lives better. Setting the standard. We don't want this to be just another development, frankly. We want this to push the envelope a little bit. Firmly rooted in market reality, but push the envelope and be a model for others. Thinking regionally, we're not looking just within this 600 acres. It needs to fit with the surrounding community and be synergistic with what's going on elsewhere. Taking the long view, this isn't about today, as I said earlier. We want this to be relevant and meaningful for decades to come. And then being open and transparent. Everything we do is live streamed. All of our meetings are recorded and put on our website. Everything is in front of the public because this is indeed a public project. And we refuse to do anything without acting with integrity. That's how we're going to operate. So, what are we talking about here? As we've reached out to the public, we've created 5 working groups of experts from our communities who have come together, several meetings, volunteering their time and ideas to make this work. They've helped us develop some products, including a report that has some key vision elements in it. These are the organizing principles around which this project was developed. And it includes great communities. We want vibrant communities that are alive, that people want to be part of, that are interesting. We want it to be a place where we have world-class transportation, where you can create really high-paying, good, high-quality jobs and opportunities for all of us. Place of innovation that I talked about, where we're solving problems. Sustainability and this sense of collaboration, where we're working together, not just on this site, but regionally to make Utah better. This is our Stakeholder Advisory Committee. We involved a number of people who represent different interests in our community, and they've been more than valuable in ensuring that we've got good ideas and are taking into account the needs of a wide variety of people. So you're going to hear now from SOM, Skidmore, Owens & Merrill. This is the planning group that we have contracted with. After a very extensive, highly competitive process, we picked this firm of internationally renowned experts in architecture, design, planning, engineering, to come and help us think through the challenge of this site and how we take all of these ideas and bring them to life.
Oh, we will hear from Peter Kindle. He's the lead designer for the Point Framework Plan. Pete is a principal at the world-renowned firm Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, also known as SOM. So I'll invite him up.
Thanks for coming out, everybody. I just wanted to share a few images from the plan and explain a little bit about some of the ideas that we had. This is the executive summary. There's a couple printed copies around on a few tables, so I encourage you to look through it. I won't go through the whole document, but Colton, if you can go to the next slide. We wanted to emphasize a few key ideas in the master plan. One is this idea of an innovation hub for the region. We think this is core to the mission of the project. Excuse me. And this really acts as a new catalyst between downtown Salt Lake and Provo. So a really important location that's well served by transportation. Next. And we also want the project to be what we called uniquely Utah. I think there's some really special communities here in the Wasatch Front area, and also the connection to nature, the ecosystems of this area are so specific and important to your lifestyle here. So we want to really try and connect with those attributes of the site. Next. As Alan mentioned, there are 6 key vision elements. These have helped us organize the work. Next. And just for comparison, we prepared this slide. So 600 acres, if you overlaid it on downtown Salt Lake, you can see it goes from the Capitol, 300 north, all the way down to City Hall at University. So about 42 city blocks. So this is a very large project and can carry a lot of different types of development. Next. So one of the key ideas was this notion of what we call a 15-minute city or a 15-minute community. Because of the size, you can actually create a mixed-use environment where everything that you might need during the course of your day is actually within walking distance of where you live or work. So that led us to, on the next slide, a mixed-use idea for the Point project. So there is residential here, there is office development. As Alan said, the key mission here is for job creation and economic growth, but to do that, you need to support it with some residential. Next. And a key concern we know in this area is traffic. And we've done everything we can to reduce the new traffic that would be generated by the development of the site. And to do that, we have 4 transportation elements that support this project. The first is Front Runner. The second is BRT. The third is a circulator. And the fourth is a very extensive network of bike trails and walking trails. Next. Another really important idea in the plan is what we call the River to Range Park. And because of the site's location, there's a great opportunity to connect the Jordan River Valley to some of the foothill trails. So that's the purpose of this design concept. Next. As Alan mentioned, we have done a lot of public outreach and have incorporated many of the ideas that we've received from the public. Next. And so this rendering here shows the overall project, the 600 acres, and it shows you a little bit of the scale of the project. This is not a dense project. It's actually a fairly low-rise project. Most of the buildings will be on average 3 to 4 stories in height. So we have tried to be very considerate and accommodating of what's happening around this project area in terms of how we're thinking about the development. Next. This shows the site plan. You can see some key ideas here. Here's that River to Range Park that goes through the project. And the project's actually organized in a series of small neighborhoods or districts. So each district has a little bit of retail, a little bit of office, a little bit of residential. So there's actually smaller villages within this large area. Next. This drawing is shown on one of the boards here. This is the actual framework plan drawing. So it shows the open space and the development area shown in gray, and the roads are shown in white. The development area is about 57.5% of the site area, and the open space is about 23.5%. It's about 142 acres. So it's a large amount of open space, almost 25% of the site. So we're very excited about the parks, and we have some drawings over here that show the park ideas. Next. And then this view shows the project looking at the core area. So Central Park is located right here. The river to range connection is here. Here's I-15 in the background. So you get a sense of the heights of the buildings in these pictures. Next. It is a mixed-use project. This is our land use map, which is over to the left here, and it shows in blue the office and in yellow the residential. Next. We're really excited about this, this core area, what we call the hub, which will have some retail in it, and we actually think it'll be a place where people might come in the evening and have dinner and maybe see a movie. So it's a new place to go in the evenings. So you see the nature of that retail core area here. The open space system, as I said, is about 142.5 acres, and you can see that here. In addition to the River to Range Park, we also have smaller district parks or neighborhood parks. These are 1 to 2 acres in size, usually maybe a little bit bigger sometimes, but these act as little parks where you can go if you live or work in the project and be close to nature. And this rendering shows the Central Park looking to the southeast. So you see the point of the mountain in the background here. We're also hoping that there's opportunities for sculpture and maybe some special attractions within the project. And then in the background, you can see the innovation hub that is right next to the BRT station. Next. We are suggesting and planning for BRT to come through the site. So bus rapid transit, it will be what we call gold standard. So it'll actually look and feel like a light rail system. And that will come through the project. It has 2 stations, one here and one here. And then in addition to that, we will have what we call a circulator, which is a small vehicle that will travel through the project and connect people back to the BRT. Next. And then one thing we're also really excited about is the trail and bike network. So that's shown on this drawing. The blue lines show the bike trails and the bike lanes, and the orange lines show the trail network. And the trail network will connect to the Jordan River Trail and also the Porter Rockwell Trail. We are also anticipating down the road that the Draper Canal Trail may be connected through the site. And then other open space connections that can be both for bike and walking. So a really extensive trail network. Next. And then this is a view looking from the western side of the project towards the Wasatch. So here you see Lone Peak. This is that River to Range Park that will go to the hub or the center of the project. And you can see the scale of that open space. There's also a recreational park, a sports park, as part of that design, which is shown over here. And this will have a few sports fields and baseball field. And then finally, a few last images. This is the road network. There's 14 new connections outward. Because the site was a prison site for so long, there's no way to pass through the site today. So one objective is to reconnect the project and the site to the surrounding communities. Next. And here's a rendering of one of those roads. So you can see we will have bike trails or bike lanes, bus rapid transit, shaded sidewalks, and active functions on the ground floor. Next. And then we're anticipating and planning for some smart city ideas. Smart city is simply a way to harness digital technology to manage the project. That'll be organized in a loop system that's connected to the districts. Next. And here you see a rendering of a typical office building near the core area. So this is the South BRT station, but you can see that sculptural element over here. And this is about as tall as any of the buildings will be on the project. And there's just 2 or 3 buildings that will get to this height, these sort of 10-story buildings. And this one's actually 8. So this is as high as the buildings are going to get, and we're only going to do that where it's served by transportation or transit services. We have some boards on our sustainability goals, and on the next slide, I think we've ended with maybe one last view of the office district. So this gives you a general sense of the character. Here's I-15 on the left, and this is the office district here with a major central park right there. So a few images that aren't on the boards, and our team is standing by to answer any questions that you might have. And anyway, we're very excited, and thank you for coming out and giving us your thoughts.
Thanks, Pete. So that concludes our presentations for the day. The open house will be open until 7 p.m., so you have a little less than an hour. Feel free to visit all the stations, look for people with the name tag. They are the Point staff or partners who can help answer any questions you have. So thanks again for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy it.
Welcome back. I am Colton Stock with the Public Involvement Team for The Point, and I'm here with Soren Simonson, the Executive Director of the Jordan River Commission, who also serves on our working group, mainly with infrastructure and land use, and has a lot of experience with how we're using the site and how we're using resources on the site. And so, welcome to the open house.
Thank you, Colton.
Yeah, no problem. So, for you, with your involvement in the site, you've been on the working group for how long now?
Probably about a year and a half since they began work, kind of leading up to getting the consulting team on board, putting together the working group kind of vision that fed into the master planning effort. It's been a fun process to be a part of.
Yeah, it's been great. From your perspective, with this framework plan released and kind of some statistics on how we're using natural resources on the site, can you talk a little bit about water usage on the site and kind of what we're envisioning with the framework plan and the next steps moving forward?
Yeah. Obviously, with the work that I do with the Jordan River Commission, we care about what water, how water comes to the site, how it leaves the site. Water is a critical issue to the Jordan River. This particular stretch of the Jordan River doesn't have as much water because so much of it's diverted. And so the quality of water entering the river through stormwater systems or water treatment becomes even more critical because any pollutants become concentrated. And as the river moves further north towards other cities in the Great Salt Lake, those impacts accumulate. And so we're really interested in seeing how stormwater particularly can be better addressed through the infrastructure systems, collecting stormwater, helping get more of it into the ground, which is what happens in a natural environment rather than just rapid runoff in a big storm event that just immediately discharges it into the river with pollutants and litter and organic material and things like that. I'm so impressed. The goal is to have 100% of stormwater in this development treated on site so that it's being percolated into the ground or going through some biofiltration systems that are part of the natural open space. And then the water that enters the Jordan River is cleaner, it's coming at a slower pace, and it will really improve water quality rather than detracting from water quality, which has been the case with so much of our development and urbanization over the last 150 years.
Exactly. No, those are great points. And you're right, the Point has a goal for that 100% natural runoff and water usage and stormwater usage to be retained and treated on site, which is incredible. And we've seen in Pete's presentation just recently that River to Range Parkway that kind of flows through the site. Could you talk a little bit about that and about the River to Range aspect of the Point?
Yeah, that was a goal that we helped bring to the table very early on. The creeks that connect the Wasatch Mountains to the Jordan River, which are both a vital source of water, but also corridors for wildlife, whether it's birds or fish or mammals or reptiles. There's a lot of wildlife that relies on the Jordan River, and they're great recreation opportunities for us humans as well.
Right.
And so, while we don't have a creek running through the site, the idea of creating this greenway was an idea that we kind of latched onto early on. and helped to kind of emphasize and champion a little bit. And it's really exciting to see that idea having captured the imagination of so many people, not just for wildlife, but also as a way to connect regional trail systems. The Bonneville Shoreline Trail, the Porter Rockwell Trail, the Jordan River Parkway Trail. This becomes a really critical piece of that urban infrastructure, but in a setting that will be very different from most of our narrow, kind of urban constrained trail corridors. Here's an idea to really imagine a different kind of a trail corridor that will be more like the experience you have in the canyons. And bringing that right into the heart of the city of Draper, I think, is really incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And it's an impressive feature of the framework plan, and it's been great to see public feedback really take shape of that, because with all these surveys, people have listed open space as one of the top priorities. And with the point, we have like about 1/3 of the site reserved for open space in various degrees. And so to do that and then also connect these regional trails and really provide a safe haven for this wildlife is incredible.
I'll just add one more thing
definitely.
to that. The regional trail connections are critical because this is a part of regional infrastructure and this is a regional destination.
Right.
But I'm also really impressed how the design team and the community involved with the process has really thought about the small scale connections. So it's not just connecting things regionally, but how do you connect a neighborhood to a neighborhood center, to an employment center, and the network of parks and green space, paths and bikeways, pedestrian infrastructure, and transit infrastructure. That's all really incredible as well. So you're working at a very small scale, you're working at very big scales, and I'm just so impressed with how this team has captured that thinking big and regionally, and also thinking small scale. I think it will be really magical as it's implemented.
Definitely. It's a lot of potential. There's also a lot of talk of this active mobility aspect of the point, and especially in the framework plan, as we've seen in Pete's presentation, the bike and pedestrian map and showing how we're going to implement that in this plan. Could you talk a little bit about the active mobility aspect of the site?
It's really, we are such an outdoor-oriented region. We have this incredible mountain range, we have trails. There's a lot of infrastructure that's slowly coming to fruition as cities that have been around for a long time and really auto-oriented and dominated are thinking about, wouldn't it be great if our kids could ride their bikes more and walk more? I grew up walking to school every day. Not a lot of kids do that anymore. And so thinking about how the school is integrated with the green space network and the bike and ped network, this will be a transformational project. It's capitalizing on ideas that are already happening in cities all over the US and all over the world. As we think about how we live differently in the 21st century with the population growing that it is, we can't continue to do things the way that we've always done them, with the automobile as the dominant driver of how we plan cities.
Right.
And so this will be a catalytic project that will be an incredible district and regional destination in its own right. But this will also, I think, be catalytic for helping other communities that are trying to rethink their suburbs that will be able to learn lessons from here and incorporate them as well. So I think this will be a real influencer for what's happening all over the Wasatch Front.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Soren.
Yeah,
It's been
my pleasure.
Great to hear your perspective on this, so thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks. Perfect. All right, welcome back to the Point Framework Plan Open House. I'm here with Doug Voigt, a partner with Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, the planning team for the Point. His partner, Peter Kindle, has talked about the framework plan in depth, and we're just here to talk more about the overview of the plan and how they've approached it. And so, Doug, could you just briefly kind of say your role on the project and what you've done on it so far?
Sure. As a colleague of Pete's, we've worked very closely on development of this framework plan, but also working closely with all of the different consultants, experts that have come forward, as well as the work with the community to synthesize all those ideas into a really innovative approach of how one could look at the future of the Point.
Definitely. And I know that with SOM, you started on this project in a very unique way and looking at the site and this place and the surrounding area with a unique lens. Could you kind of describe your initial approach to the framework plan?
Sure. Well, first, the scale of the site and its connections to not only the Wasatch Front, but the Jordan River Trail and that watershed itself. We started by looking at the land, really took our cues from the land, what the topography, what connections needed to be restored, what linkages would help the environmental function and health of the overall site, not just the boundaries of the site, but the overall region. I think by looking carefully at those cues, it became very apparent that this approach to a series of connected parklands and greenways of various scales could weave through the entire development and each provide something unique to the recreation, health, and quality of life for the residents of the point and the surrounding communities.
Definitely. And as we've seen with the framework plan, like that's really manifest in this deliverable, and you can see the attention to detail and the care that you've put into it and making it a community for people and respecting the land around it, which is incredible. And really, I think that goes back to like what really is uniquely Utah about the site. Could you kind of describe like what makes the site uniquely Utah?
The direct connection to nature. Nature is everywhere within this plan. There's something for everyone. There's the vast vistas that are open to everyone, but there's also the intimate relationships with the environment that you can see pretty much anywhere in the framework plan. And I think it's that approach and understanding of scale through the lens of an individual that is so unique to Utah. You know, that real quality that you get, the texture and quality of the spaces within the built environment.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for your input tonight. We're really grateful for this framework plan and for all that you've done on this project and all you're continuing to do. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Welcome back to the Point Framework Plan Open House. I'm here with Kelvin Cullimore, from the president of BioUtah, and he's here to talk about the Point Framework Plan and his role on the Point. He actually is part of the working group for economic development and research, and so he's here to talk about his stance on the framework plan and what he thinks about the Point moving forward.
Thank you, Colton. This is really a terribly exciting opportunity to see this development take place. From the biotech community's point of view, there is significant demand for innovation centers like this. Most people don't know that BioUtah, or that the biotech industry in Utah, is the fastest growing biotech community in the country. Has been since 2012. So what that means, of course, is there's a lot of demand for space and areas where they can expand. And this is going to be extremely attractive for that segment of the economy.
Definitely, definitely. As we've seen tonight, we've seen a lot of detail of the framework plan as it's been released, and we have the executive summary and the final report on our website. But from your perspective, you know, what's the most exciting thing about this framework plan?
Well, the thing that we are excited about is where else in this country can you find 600 acres between two of the most dense population centers in a state? That's what this is. It provides an opportunity for people both in Utah County, Salt Lake County, and other counties around, probably the whole state for that matter, to come and participate in the economic development that's going to occur here. The plan that has been put forth, I think, has gone through a lot of vetting. There's a lot of good ideas that have gone into it. I hope that the end product looks very much like what has been put out here. Obviously, there will be changes. We'd like to see a few things there that in the institutional sector, getting some anchor tenants in there. From our perspective, we'd love to see kind of a boutique hospital that can not only serve the population, but serve as kind of a research center as well, and make it something that is really attractive for pharma and for biotech companies to come here. So the design, I think, has some real merit. Then you have the center part that can be the retail and entertainment type thing that will be very attractive for everybody from around the valley. So I think it's a great development.
Yeah, definitely. What do you see as like the next steps for the Point, especially with your involvement on the working group?
Well, I think the next steps are going to be to figure out how you execute this plan. The plan is one thing. Executing it is a whole nother kettle of fish because once you have the plan, now how do we make sure that what has been envisioned is actually achieved? And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge we have is how do you engage How do you engage developers who will share in the vision and do it in a controlled way? Because this property is too valuable to be developed rapidly.
Right.
It needs to be done over time. It needs to be done right. It needs to be done with the original principles in mind. And sometimes investment capital is not patient. That's why we're fortunate that the state owns the property. They have the ability to be patient. So we need to be patient in how we actually execute this plan.
Definitely. And as you've mentioned, you know, there's a lot of flexibility as we move forward and as market conditions change. You know, this framework plan isn't set in stone, but what's been presented here is very substantive and very exciting for this area in Utah. So
yeah, I totally agree. I think there's some opportunities for a little bit more density as the plan shows. That's not always popular in certain areas. As a former mayor myself, I know that those can present some concerns, but I think this area presents the opportunity to achieve that without having any kind of negative effects on surrounding properties. And so, like I said, this is such a unique development, such a great opportunity, and if it's executed the way it's planned, I think we'll have something that will be of value for generations to come.
definitely. Well, thank you so much for your perspective tonight.
My pleasure.
Thanks.